Hi, welcome to The Pitch, where we showcase FilmTT's Business of Film Script to Screen Capacity Development and Content Creation Program. Okay, that's a lot, but what it is 22 filmmakers had an intensive workshop and 10 went on to pitch for developmental funding. Tonight, we will reveal the winners of the first ever Business of Film Script to Screen program. But before we get to that, let's hear from the one and only Minister of Trade and Industry, the Senator the Honorable Paula Gopiskun.
I am pleased to celebrate the culmination of the Business of Film Script-to-Screen Capacity Development and Content Creation Program presented by FilmTT. Entrepreneurs from the creative industry in Trinidad and Tobago have been taking our culture to the world for decades. However, much of this has been through private arrangements with some support from the government, and we recognize that more attention has to be given to the sector. In this regard, guided by our National Development Strategy, Vision 2030, and Roadmap to Recovery report, the government has identified the creative industry, of which film is a key component, as a priority sector for development. These policies highlight a number of initiatives inclusive of the promotion and support for intellectual property protection, the establishment and promulgation of a local content guideline for local media houses, the promotion, development, use, and the export of locally created content, support for the transition of the creatives from the informal sector to the formal sector by digitizing and sensitizing the registration process. As the primary agency responsible for the development of the film and audiovisual sector in Trinidad and Tobago, FilmTT is integral to building the capacity of the local industry and advancing our overall development goals. The Business of Film Script-to-Script Capacity Development and Content Creation Program is a perfect example of what is needed for our community of local filmmakers. The development of the 3-month Capacity and Content Creation Program was designed to invest in projects that are viable, timely, and foster national pride. The program seeks to build on their production skills, as well as their ability to devise, create, deliver, and promote quality, international audience-pleasing screen content. The sessions, which included practical components and funding incentives, were facilitated by local and international industry professionals. This type of expertise and mentoring is welcomed and serves to further harness the skills of our local content creators. Additionally, there were a number of workshops aimed at bridging gaps by providing filmmakers with the proper story script writing skills, production tools, marketing, music, and distribution guidelines. After an intensive 5-week program with international film educators Stage 32 and local film industry experts, 15 filmmakers entered into a month-long virtual film pitch process reminiscent of a Hollywood boardroom. During these sessions, filmmakers were given the opportunity to present their stories in a bid to secure developmental funding. Projects considered for investment demonstrated a sound and structured plan and identified a way to move the industry forward and bolster our economy through its quality execution. Today, the top 3 winners of the Business of Film Script-to-Screen program and their respective projects will be announced. These real-life scenarios are imperative to understanding the international market and building institutional knowledge to be able to better exploit these opportunities in the future. I must commend all participants, our skilled filmmakers, for participating in this program and taking the opportunity to invest in yourself, particularly during a pandemic which has been catastrophic to the industry. Additionally, I wish to extend best wishes to the winners and look forward to enjoying your offerings on all our various screening platforms. I also congratulate FilmTT for their continuous efforts, programs, and stakeholder collaborations over the past year to develop the sector and to be at the forefront of the digital landscape in Trinidad and Tobago.
And now a few words from the FilmTT chair, Diane McNichol Stevenson.
Fiscal 2020 to 2021 found us in the midst of a COVID-induced pivot in focus and operations. With the closure of our borders and implementation of health regulations, while onboarding new management, FilmTT shifted from telling stories that would attract incoming productions to stories that would stimulate capacity development. In recognizing the need to ensure our filmmakers remained prepared to work on films in a post- and para-pandemic environment, produce content with demonstrated marketability in an ever-innovating industry, and knowing that the script is the most important to the film's success, we developed the Business of Film Script-to-Screen Capacity Development and Content Creation Program. FilmTT is committed to focus on storytelling and creating content that contributes to the sustainability of our film industry. And we are confident that this cohort of filmmakers are prepared to do business and make a scene as soon as the opportunity presents. Thanks for sharing your time with us and for supporting our local film industry in whatever way you can. Stay safe and stay blessed.
Now, of course, one of our main partners throughout this entire process would have been FilmTT. Let's join in on a conversation with Dr. Cyril Collier. Now, as the director at FilmTT with the responsibility of the creative and services industry, tell me, how do you see the partnership between FilmTT and FilmTT?
Most, or I should say, some of the people in Trinidad and Tobago just look at film for entertainment. They don't really think about the business end of the situation. It's a big business. It's a multi-million-dollar business all over the world. The film industry, so to say, it's one of the greatest. But it depends on how you market it. And that is where FilmTT will come in.
Do you have any last words you want to share with the audience and or the creative industry?
I'm advocating that. Come in and chat with us. Tell us your plans, and we'll help you along the way to success.
Now, let's show you a quick recap of the Script-to-Screen program.
Telling stories from your perspective, your region, whether it's Trinidad and Tobago, or whether it's the Caribbean larger, or whether it's your hometown.
I think the kind of basic thought pattern with making movies is make your first movie something that as many people can see and hopefully makes some money, and then make your passion project seconds, which oftentimes makes a much better, more interesting movie, but doesn't always translate into wide viewership or getting the attention of a North American or European or South American audience, for instance. And I think just the theme of the story should be as international and for as wide an audience as you can get.
I mean, authenticity is what people are interested in. They're interested in the truth and authentic stories. And the only way to tell an authentic story is if you understand the point of view of at least one or two of your characters, the protagonists for sure,
One of the things that you and I talked about when we first spoke was this idea of, using instruments that are local and instruments that you grew up with to influence your score, right?
In my experience, directors like their films to be unique, and having a unique soundtrack helps to set the film apart. What helps to have a unique soundtrack is the use of unique instruments. The steel pan has been used in scores in films before, but it's nowhere near mainstream as it should be or as it could be.
Of course, one of our challenges is that we have a very small domestic market, 1.5 million people. That's hard, right? To be like, oh, making movies, like how many people are going to watch it, right? Or buy it or pay for it, and unless you have real marketing money.
But there is, at the feature level, there's big money in that. And you're exactly right. At the short film level, our challenge is to go to these local companies, these local entities, and say, here's what the ask is, but here's what the value for you as a brand is. And I think you're exactly right. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, because the same film that I was telling you we were doing the proof of concept for, you take the script and you underline everything that can be trade it out. So even wardrobe, right? And you have so many young designers or fashion houses that are interested, all the cloth, all the costumes, for the lead. And so we were able to get from one of the local fashion houses. So you want to make sure that you invest on the screen and you put everything in the screen. So if you already have the right equipment, the right crew, and the discipline that comes with it, even if you get a 2-week notice, you can turn that around.
Yeah, I think that you're exactly right, and that does come with professional experience and doing it for long enough that you have those relationships, that you have the equipment or access to the equipment or access to a location or access to talent. It does come from doing this at a high level for so many years in order to get those to be able to get that 2-week turnaround and say, not a problem, we can knock this out, and you start picking up the phone and making calls, right?
I mean, I almost you like in filmmaking to like alchemy or something, there's so much stuff that has to kind of come together to make this thing happen. So it's really just, but at the end of the day, we're just making movies, telling stories. So it's not the end, you're not like saving lives or something. So just keeping a light atmosphere on set and trying to make it fun, because I mean you have to love it to want to do it.
I want
to subject yourself to it.
Sure, I think that's exactly right.
I'm a producer, I'm a screenwriter, and I'm an actor. But I'm also a scientist and an environmental activist.
I've been making films for probably the last 10 years.
I was a thief, a chicken thief.
I wrote down director, filmmaker, thief. Okay.
What have you envisioned? It's going to make it stand out from any other COVID-related iceberg type story.
This story is universal for anyone who has ever had a dream but feared that they weren't good enough, they weren't talented enough. Who are they to have such a dream?
I'm constantly seeing children struggle with this online school system.
I've seen compassionate young men bullied into coolness and indifference.
We build up all these fears in our mind and never get the courage to pursue our dreams.
And I want to show them that they can make it just as our parents did.
Of course, I understand that target audience is important to you because of what you do.
You're lacking some of the subtleties that I felt in the story. There's too many words. I'm confused. When I read this, I'm already confused.
I like your vision. However, I want to understand who the characters are.
Ringeri Bang, what are you selling me? What am I buying?
A story about a young fisherman.
A complete stranger.
A cocoa tree. A mother who deserts her son in search of a better life.
Very soulful. Certainly for me, it resonated on so many levels.
On one side, you have a troubled youth who doesn't want to do his homework and so on. And then you have this very sensitive, emotional child who, is tuning in to his ancestors through this shell.
Thank you for the presentation.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You did good.
It was a pleasure listening to your pitch. You hit every single mark for me.
So it's just check, 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 check.
You're obviously prepared and you're very confident. And that alone sold it. The kind of energy you want to go into any kind of pitch, that's how you want to do it.
That was virtually intense. And of course, it would not have been anything that it was without our very valuable judges. Let's hear from the judges.
We were both judges on the project. Tell me about your role, how you felt about being a part of the project and how it interacts with your role as the chairman of Creative TT.
I'm very proud of the team at FilmTT with the initiatives that they have created, which is one of them. And as you are aware, we are seeking to focus primarily on building capacity in our creatives, as well as content creation. As a judge in the final aspect of it, I was particularly pleased with the 6 finalists because it was really, really difficult to adjudicate. They were all so brilliant.
Okay, so FilmTT and FilmTT have done collaborations in the past. We've been working together for the past, 3, maybe 4 years. This is almost like the culmination of that collaboration. Where do you see us going beyond this? Where do you see FilmTT and FilmTT working together again? And what are we going to be doing?
Deborah, I honestly believe collaboration is the new capital. I think collaboration and innovation are in fact the new capital. Let's face facts. The availability of funding and financial resources as we probably knew it pre-pandemic and even prior to pre-pandemic had its own economic shrinkage. It was no longer the buoyancy. I think the need for us to really differentiate, collaborate, and see things in a new and different way is exactly what Export TT and Film TT, and by extension Creative TT, we're looking at. And I am thrilled with the synergy that we have been able to achieve here. We all want the same outcome, right?
Yes.
Successful entrepreneurs, be they in the hard sector of manufacturing or in the softer side of creativity, towards diversification of our economy.
This conversation with you, is there anything else you'd like to add? Anything else you'd like to say? Anything that can make this conversation so much richer?
Using the scarce resources, financial resources that we may have to better position our creatives, perhaps even if it is to start with domestically, regionally, or even internationally. Because remember, it's a bit of a twin win. If we can reduce dependency on importing any type of product, be it even creative type products, and we nurture and cultivate more of a domestic or regional market, that's a win. All right? And of course, incrementally, a great win will be that if we're able to do that, as well as to be able to penetrate into the regional and international markets. So that is where I see our synergism continuing to really achieve success.
Definitely.
So I was one of the judges on the Script to Screen project, and I was one from the beginning. So actually I had the opportunity to read the scripts and get to see the process as it evolved. So in the Script to Screen program, I was really impressed with the quality and the level of the scripts. Also the ideas, you know, a lot of interesting ideas, fantasy, you know, animation, a lot of different concepts were approached, and we really did see a progression, you know, from the initial stage of judging to the final stage of judging. I really hope that this project would be a long-term initiative. It has a lot of benefits. As we know, we really need to fine-tune our stories and our content, because that is really what people are looking at first. The story, the content, you know, the characters and so on. So yes, I really think this is a great initiative, and I hope we continue.
Well, first of all, I just feel so honored to be the only guest speaker and judge. That's a great privilege, I think, to be that person in the inaugural The Pitch. So what I observe is that a number of the persons who were a bit timid in that very first, because I was one of the early tutors, who were a bit timid in those sessions, they came alive in the pitch. So it was wonderful to see that their confidence had grown. And the other side of it is that some of the persons who were vocal ended up in the pitch. So, you know, it's a balance where you have to know exactly how to be seen and visible in these type of situations so that the organizers, the tutors, the financiers can spot you, and then just enough to build, if you're not confident enough, that you get into the finals.
Congratulations. Your bravery and willingness to be vulnerable, opening yourself up to scrutiny and critique, in turn, trusting us to be a part of your process, is not a role that we took lightly. You were able, through your work and enthusiasm, to excite us and reignite us about the belief about the realms of possibility for Caribbean imagination, narrative, and visual distinction. You have proven what we already knew, that our stories deserve and are worthy of being told. Here's to this being just the beginning. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of it.
We also have well wishes from David Roberts, the CEO at TTT, and of course, our main media partner.
TTT Limited is pleased to partner with FilmTT on its ongoing efforts to educate, promote, and inspire members of the creative industry of Trinidad and Tobago through its various education and training initiatives. At TTT Limited, we live for local. Therefore, when we were approached to collaborate on the script-to-screen workshops, we jumped at the opportunity, as we saw the critical need to provide the much-needed training for our creatives that will not only be beneficial to the industry, but also contribute to the development of our Caribbean identity, especially as we seek to promote our content across regional and international platforms. It is important for us at TTT Limited to continue to maintain our ongoing relationship with FilmTT because we believe that this entity, as well as Creative TT by extension, are critical to our national diversification effort. On behalf of the Board of Directors and Management at TTT Limited, congratulations to you all.
Faith sometimes requires sacrifice. Sacrificing your wants for a greater good, or believe that things will get better in the future, even when it does not seem present. As a Trinbagonian artist, I struggle with the concept of keeping my faith intact, because at times it feels like all is lost. It's hard not to feel this way, everything that's going on in the world today. However, what keeps me going is the love and support of my family, friends, and neighbors, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, as I expect Father, I want for my future child, as well as the children of our nation, to believe in themselves the way I grew up, through stories about good triumphing over evil, to keep hope alive, no matter how bad things get.
And now the reveal. The third place goes to...
The name of my film is called Love for Steel, and basically the reason for that is FilmTT came up with a concept of wanting to do something positive on Trinidad and Tobago, and I figure, well, why not a love story? So I came up with the name Steel, and then I wanted to put a twist to it. So Love for Steel is basically about a female who loves a guy, his name is Steel, but it's also about a guy who loves playing the steel pan. So it's just a play on words. And, you know, with the time I had, I just tried to figure out how best I could develop it into a nice love story, and I think it worked out.
And of course, the second place goes to...
I Dream of Calypso, and it's actually a project that I had a really long time, and I thought it was a perfect opportunity given the requirements for the pitch process in terms of adventure, comedy, romance, that sort of thing. I Dream of Calypso is basically about our culture, it's about our experiences. I used to work at Government Information Services Limited, and we did a lot of cultural projects, and I got an opportunity to listen to a lot of Calypsonian stories. So, you know, this film is birthed out of that process.
And now, the winner of our first Business of Film script to screen goes to...
This story did not exist before the script to screen project. I mean, I always wanted to do something about, you know, that culture of the barrel, but I really could not find the right project or story for it. And separate and apart from that, I thought the script to screen program, especially for the course, was a great opportunity to learn, you know what I mean, and to understand. And I saw the people that you all had. And yeah, I didn't go in with the intention to do that, but you know, I went to feel it out, and through these sessions, you know, things became clearer, right? The story was originally a lot more direct, but then it didn't feel right. And then when we started hearing about universality, and you know what I mean, I started becoming a little more fantastic about it and trying to approach it a little more indirect, so it's not as sad. And I think, yeah, I mean, this story is a script-to-screen story. It did not exist before.
Congratulations to all the winners and runner-ups of our first ever program. Well, that's it for now. We hope you absolutely enjoyed our first program, and do look out for another episode of The Pitch.
Yeah, you see, when you're positive in life, it always has somebody trying to bring it on. We have no time for them wrong here, you know. Let me tell them we don't care right now. You can fight me, pretend that you like me, cause all my blessings coming down from the up top boss. So I don't have no time for no bad mind horse. You can fight me, pretend that you like me, cause all my blessings coming down from the up top boss. So I don't have no time for no bad mind horse. If you work hard, pay bills, they still go hit you if you stay home and chill. Belly hungry but they broke. Even if you offer them a 2-piece and a coke, still they're going and hit you. Oh my God, God please you people. Your attitude is ugly like your name was Seagull. All they're hitting harder than Samurai. They black people, all like them radio DJs who said they're supporting local. They're bogus, too bogus. just like the focus of a calm wave. Like the devil say he giving you a calm day. It's like your Jordans for so after one play. Like if you walk a 10 days and they get no pay. You can spite me. Pretend that you love